Well, welcome back to Shedman 101 and my video series on the upgrading of my DJI Flamewheel F550 drone. Now, just to recap, in the last video we mounted made some new mountings for the RC receivers, which are these. Which is this group under here. So that's the gimbal receiver, the flight controller receiver, and the BEC, which is a 5-volt power supply for everything. So the update on the X6R receiver is that it works very well, and it's increased my range, which was the idea of the exercise. It's increased my RSSI to about 97 from 72, so I'm very happy with that. Now, I had a bit of an accident, and I don't know if you can see here. It plonked itself down rather heavily and snapped the top plate here and here. I was on holiday, so I managed to pull it together with a couple of cable ties and get some more flights and some more filming out of it, but it's very annoying, and so I'm going to have to make a new top plate. So this video will be about making this top plate. I've already made a sheet of fiberglass, which I used the same technique as I used in video 1, except it's just a bigger bit of fiberglass. This is 5 layers of woven roving, squashed very thin, so that will do that job temporarily. And it also turned out that I might just like to fly the drone with without the camera, just for the sake of flying it, getting some practice in and having a good little bash about with it. Now, the problem with that is that before you fly each time, you need to make sure that it's balanced, and that's obviously not balanced. So one of the ways of doing that is to slide the battery, which weighs about 800 grams, backwards and forwards on the mounting rails. The way I've configured it now, it's you can't slide it very far, so I'm going to make a new arrangement here with a new battery holder, so that I can get the centre of gravity of the battery much further forward, so I don't need to carry all the GoPro on the front. So that's the two things I'm going to be doing. So there we are. So what I'll start with, I'll take this top plate off, and then I can mark it out on here, cut it out and replace it. So we'll start with that. There's 24 screws if I remember, all of them pain. Well, I'll get back to you when that's off. Now, with the screws out, or most of the screws out, we can lift off the top plate and see what is what. So that's the top plate off. That is the Wi-Fi sender. We can take out the GPS power, GPS lead, and unscrew this. So there's a fairly good view there of the internal workings. All the wires nicely twisted up to try and cut down on the electrical noise in the circuits. Okay, so this is the arming button, or pre-arming button. Leave that there for now. So this can just wait over there for a bit. So this was the damage caused by plonking it down too heavily when the battery went flat. So we're going to do something about that as well. So the plan now is I'll get this GPS mast off and this video aerial. Now that has cleaned up the plate, which is very good. So we just need to mark this plate on this piece of board that I made earlier. Now, as we saw in the last video, the only way to mark this is to actually cover the whole thing in masking tape. This is what I should attempt. I just hope I've got enough masking tape. So there we are, just about got enough tape there, and the next job is to fit that on in the most economical way, which is probably like that. And then mark it out. So my plan is to mark out the outside edge and cut that, and then come back and clamp this original piece to it, and then drill through the holes so I can pick up exactly on the drill holes, and then I can decide what shape any lightning holes are going to be after that. So that's what we'll do. We'll get a pencil. So I've decided to do it with a pen. I'll just get a good bit. take that broken bit. So that's the shape we need to cut out. Pretty, isn't it? The good thing about making, I made the board a bit extra board because I can use some of this that's left over to make my new battery holder and also a new extension for the holders of the rails. So that's what we'll do with that. We're going to cut that out and then get back to it. Okay, so I've cut this out. As you can see, I've taken particular care to get these distances the same, so that the motor arms aren't all higgledy-piggledy. So now I want to fix this to here as a template. So I'll tape this on and then I can pick up these holes with the drill. I want to get this fairly nice. Looks quite good. That's good, but I think I'll just put another bit on for safety's sake. Now these ends look pretty good. Let's see how this drills. So that seems quite successful. Just this last one to do, which I think I can. Fairly successfully hold that in position. Okay, so that's the holes. Oh, no, it's not the holes drilled. Yes, now the hole's drilled. It always pays to check your work. So I'll just take the tape off, give that a bit of a clean up, and it should be good to go. Now you may ask, or you may think, well, why am I doing all this bits of old fiberglass to repair my drone instead of buying a new part? Well, the thing is, it's at a later date, not too much later, I want to build a heavy lift drone, and I want to build my own airframe. So this is good practice, although this translates directly to carbon fibre. I'll shut the dog out. I shall use this as practice for the techniques that I'll use when I'm doing my heavy lift drone. So hopefully I'll have learned how to do it a bit quicker by then. Okay, so I've drilled the holes, and I thought I'll spare you putting the GPS mast back on. So we put the GPS mast on and the pre-arming switches in, so we can start to put this back on. I have just put a little bit of extra protection here where the cables for the GPS go through the top plate, because I wasn't very happy with them rubbing on the edges. It could cause a problem when you're out playing. So now let's see if we've got it to fit. We can get it to fit. Right, so the pre-arm switch goes in. It goes in that way, and the GPS, you can see GPS marked on there quite clearly. That way around, or is it that way around? Possibly that way around. That's the GPS signals, and one last one is the power. That one's in not forgetting, which I was forgetting. Oh. So the telemetry is still in there, so we'll mount this again after we've got all this lot in. Now let's see what we've got. So this is just a case of putting these screws in, and then we'll have a look afterwards to see what's going on. So we've come to the end now, 24 screws later. Very good. So that's the new plate made. got the pre-arm button there. I've changed the position of it, and the video aerial. Put this one on for now. There. So that's all lovely. The ends of the plate are nice and snug where they register on the arms, so that's all good. So that for me is well good enough to fly with. I haven't drilled any of the weight saving holes in here because this is not as strong as the other plate, so I've just left it with the maximum or the minimum amount of holes drilled through it. Okay, so I've put this few little back on, put the Wi-Fi transmitter on, put the video transmitter back on, a bit more tape. These are all still good. So she's ready to fly again. So I will be replacing this in the future when I've got a spare 45 quid, but as for now it's a good practice for when I come to doing the larger heavy lift drone and making all the airframe out of carbon fibre myself, which when I can afford it I'll make a start. So as I say, the next bit now is to rearrange this area so I can slide the battery right forward and change the centre of gravity so I can fly without the camera. So there we are. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please like, subscribe and share, and I hope you found it interesting.